Welcome back to the channel. It has not been a good month for the most electrifying man in entertainment today. The Rock, Black Adam, came out. It looked like maybe it was going to do okay, but it turns out it lost a boatload of money, and it feels like The Rock has been thrown underneath the bus by James Gunn and DC Studios. And here to talk to me about that is Jesse Blaze Snider, musician, comic book writer, voiceover actor. Is there anything that you don't do, Jesse?
I do anything I have to do.
So congratulations. I know Guns N' Angels is out on Kickstarter right now. You're already fully funded in less than 24 hours. What happened there?
Yeah, it was amazing. Number Zero just got put up yesterday, and we're already like 3 times what we were asking for. It's a really great book. If you go over to the Kickstarter, you're going to see a lot of covers that are selling sex, but the work will speak for itself. It's really some of the best stuff that I've ever done. It's kind of my Princess Bride, and I love the Princess Bride because it's so balanced. It's funny, it's romantic, it's action packed. It's really an engaging, balanced work of art. And Guns N' Angels is very similar. There's a lot of action, but there's romance and there's humor. And I really think it's just something for everybody. So if you want to see a bunch of mercenaries and international intrigue and some romance, go over to Kickstarter, check out Guns N' Angels number 0.
Absolutely. You will not be disappointed. As I mentioned earlier, Jesse is also a musician. He's got a Christmas video out today, and we are doing this video on Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everyone. Definitely check out the music video as well. So Jesse, I think people were excited. We've been building up to The Rock playing Black Adam for 10 years now. I always wondered why he wasn't playing Shazam, the actual hero, rather than the villain Black Adam. It feels like they try to twist Black Adam into being a hero here, but we've already had the kind of that version of a superhero in the DC universe, but he had a much bigger name than Black Adam. He was called Superman, and this thing kind of fell on its face.
People, especially the people at Warner Brothers, they don't understand that the way periodical comic books work is you have your tentpole things that work, your bread and butter. For DC Comics, it's Batman and Superman, right? Batman and Superman are the light and the dark. Everything else at DC that works is based on sort of working around the fact that they've already established pure light and pure dark in the hero form. The reason why Black Adam was such a breath of fresh air when he was introduced to the JSA in the 90s or whatever, when I was reading those comics, was because he represented the antithesis of what Superman was. He was just like Superman, but he was not messing around, and he was killing people and ripping people's heads off. And you were like, oh my God. But it only mattered because Superman was 99% of the time presented as this really wholesome and kind of infallible good guy. And Black Adam represented more of like, what if an average guy had this power? What would he do? He'd do what he thought was right, and he would just do anything. Morals be gone, and that's what made him so compelling. But because of Man of Steel, because of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, he did that with Superman already. So the audience being sold Black Adam as this Superman, but like the gloves are off. Like, we already saw the Superman, but the gloves are off movie. It doesn't mean anything anymore. So the moment they announced that this movie was in the works, I was like, well, they better do a Superman movie that makes Superman nice before they do that Black Adam movie, because it's not going to mean anything.
Yeah, they forgot to lay the foundation. You're right. Everything kind of revolves around Superman in the DC universe. Batman, sure, you can make your solo Batman franchise and people will be interested in it, but he's a much more compelling character when you put him side by side with Superman and they come to an agreement, or maybe they have disagreements and there's that conflict within them, even though they're both heroes. Without a functioning Superman in the DCEU or the DCU, you really don't have anything really to work with. You have a few characters that can probably sell some merchandise, probably sell some movies here and there, but if you don't have that functioning Superman, why even put a Black Adam movie out?
Yeah, no, I think Jeff Loeb's and Ed McGuinness's Superman Batman was a really great show of this. I mean, literally the whole narrative there is they're like inner narration boxes, and you just keep seeing the way Superman's thinking about it, the way Batman's thinking about it, the way Superman's thinking about it, the way Batman's thinking about it. And, a character like the Flash, the Barry Allen Flash was not a good add to the Justice League. Wally West Flash, he was more successful because he was a good add to Superman and Batman. He was lighthearted, younger minded, and he fit because he wasn't Superman and he wasn't Batman. Barry Allen was a little too much like Superman, and then occasionally a little too much like Batman. He just was too close to the pillars of the Justice League. The Justice League works the best when you have a myriad of characters that are working off each other and working against their types. Iron Man and Captain America, they work against type. And then Thor is this thing kind of above them, and the Hulk is this thing below them. Those four work really great. And then anybody else you add to the team, they can't be identical to those characters. They have to be unique additions. Bringing in Black Panther's cool. He's a king. He's approaching things from a very different mindset than all these other characters are. That's how you build a universe. It's kind of like the horoscope. You got 12 options on the horoscope. You could make a team of superheroes that had 12 definitive personalities that were all working against each other because they were all clearly defined. But if you have a bunch of characters that are essentially representing the same archetype of personality and morality, you're screwed.
Yeah, it just did not work. I think they had pretty big plans. Obviously, they had the Henry Cavill cameo at the end, which I think was supposed to be a pretty big selling point for that. But we know Henry Cavill's out as Superman, and it appears that The Rock will not be returning as Black Adam. He literally spent 10 years, a decade of his life, producing this movie. It was in development for so long, and it ends up being all for naught. The man and his reputation as franchise Viagra is probably hurt at this point. Do you really think it was The Rock's fault?
No, I don't think it was The Rock's fault at all. I feel bad for all of them. I feel bad for Henry Cavill. I keep watching things now, and I keep having the same realization. And it's so funny that I've never thought of it before. But these actors, they don't have a choice. The words coming out of their mouths, the scripts that they're being handed. I mean, there are things as a fan, because I'm a voiceover actor, and I was watching Pinocchio, this Russian Pinocchio movie that they made. It was awful. Honest Trailers did a little thing on it, and I'm listening to these voice actors do this dialogue, and I'm just like, these poor bastards. I would have turned this down, going, oh my God, I love Pinocchio. You guys are ruining it. I can't be a part of this. But that's not the job. That's not an actor's job. An actor's job is to audition for the part, hope that they get the part, and that they get paid to show up and do the best job that they can do. And, in the case of somebody like The Rock, he's got a little bit of hand in production, but it's clear that his heart was in the right place. It feels like Black Adam. It really, they did a cool thing with the JSA. Dr. Fate's very cool. Granted, a lot of it isn't really developed enough to be anything that excites me too much. In general, I was like, okay, but Black Adam is unoffensive and generally a little bit of a love letter to the fans. They just couldn't do it justice because, like you said, Superman walks on screen at the end, and you kind of have to go in your mind after seeing Man of Steel of like, well, what's the difference between him and him? He's American? It seems more like a nationalist kind of thing at this point of like, oh, well, the American guy is going to come to the Middle East and throw down. It actually kind of seems kind of off-putting when you look at it from that lens, because Superman has not been depicted as a really good guy. And who sends Superman? Amanda Waller, the worst human being on the planet. So Amanda Waller sends the good guy in to fight Black Adam. I mean, Superman is essentially the old Superman in Dark Knight Returns when he's a patsy for Amanda Waller going into the Middle East to fight Black Adam. So you don't actually have the thing that comic fans wanted, which was a really morally ambiguous Superman versus a really genuinely good Superman.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things about it as well. Obviously comic book fans know who Black Adam is, but the general audience don't really know who Black Adam is. They probably don't even know who the JSA are. They know who the Justice League are. They probably don't even know that the Justice Society of America even exists or what their place in DC history is. So they were taking a chance. But we've seen obscure heroes in the past make a lot of money. I remember the Wesley Snipes Blade movie. At that point, Wesley Snipes was an action star, but he wasn't the big action star that The Rock is today. So you would have thought that it could have been more successful. Do you think it's hero fatigue? Have we had enough superhero movies that unless you bring something truly astounding with a character with name recognition, that maybe you can't succeed today?
I don't think it's that at all. I think it's a much more complex thing that the Warner Brothers executives are never going to get. Hopefully James Gunn understands the dynamics that are at play here. The reason why Blade worked was Blade was not reliant upon anything other than vampires to define him. Black Adam was reliant upon Superman to define him. Without a properly defined Superman who represents pure good.
Or Shazam. Obviously, that's the character he's more associated with. But Shazam is very similar to Superman.
Yeah, that's the more traditional bit. But modern day Black Adam was beloved because he was an anti-Superman. He didn't. The Jeff Johns version of Black Adam had next to nothing to do with Shazam. It really he wasn't really a part of the thing. It was like, oh, and now we'll bring in the evil Shazam onto the JSA, but he's cool because he's an evil Superman. And only works if that's a piece of the universe building that they do. And DC is going to find out very quickly if they don't nail Superman, there's a lot of things in their toy box that are not going to work because they are working in the continuity of the universe based on the fact that they are not Superman and they are not Batman. They're their own unique shape in this world.
Well, we know that David Zaslav, the Warner Brothers Discovery CEO, has said he's earmarked that saving, $6 billion or whatever is number one, making the DCU popular is number two, with the caveat under that we have to get Superman right. So it's no surprise that James Gunn is going to be petting the Superman movie. I like James Gunn. I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I even like the Suicide Squad. And I thought Peacemaker, while not very well in continuity or anything like that, was actually quite enjoyable. I thought it was entertaining. I do not see him being a good fit for Superman. Just like his sensibilities and his sense of humor does not fit that character whatsoever, to me.
I agree. His sensibilities, I think, is the right word. Everything that I have not seen a single thing from him that makes me think that his sensibilities are right for Superman. But I can see a version of his Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special through the lens of Superman. But it'll only work if it's Superman in space and Superman dealing with aliens and dealing with interesting things like that. That aspect he's got covered pretty good. But yeah, honestly, he's certainly not my first pick. But I believe that a good writer can do anything. If they care enough to study. And really, that's the big thing. And that's the thing that Warner Brothers executives and executives in general in Hollywood, they don't want to do. They don't want to get down to our level. They don't want to actually read the comic books so that they know what we know and they feel the same way that we feel. They would rather just find some people who sound like they give them a good sales pitch and they go, all right, cool, it's yours. And then they can blame it on them or whatever else. What they need to do is buckle down, get connected with the source material the way fans are so that they can sit there and go, okay, I know how we need to do this. I know the stories that people want to see. And, let's build this from the ground up the way it was built in the comics or to some similar degree of how it was built in the comics so that the viewing audience for the films can have that building relationship with the characters. Because, it's like Superman, or I should say Batman's the best example. Batman wasn't Batman just like right out of the gate. Batman has become what Batman has become, the myth over time. One creator after another adding to the tapestry, throwing away things that didn't work, bringing back the things that got thrown away, and slowly honing Batman into one of the greatest characters that has ever been created. But it wasn't created. It was collectively made over time, not just like here's Batman and here's all the good ideas.
Yeah, his first time he appeared, he has a gun.
Exactly.
Yeah, Superman couldn't fly when he first showed up. He could only run really fast. He could jump high.
Yeah,
kind of stuff like that. So I got what you're saying.
It becomes the thing over time. And that same thing, the relationship with the characters, it becomes the thing. We come to love Wolverine because of his relationship with Kitty Pryde, because of his interactions with Cyclops, because of the way Jean Grey appreciates him on a deeper level. Those are the things. And we need to see that done well, see that done well, see that done well. That's why the X-Men movie worked. They made Rogue the Kitty Pryde. They did the right shit with Cyclops, the right things with Jean Grey. These things endear us to the situation that is Wolverine. And that got him the right foundation for the audience to connect with him the same way we did. And then they're in it like we're in it. and we've got a whole bunch of movies starring Wolverine and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and it's a big success. You don't do that with Superman, you don't get to continue down that road.
And you'll have more failures like The Rock coming over to the DCEU, now the DCU, and actually failing. It didn't feel like it was probably possible. I said, yeah, it's an obscure character, but it's The Rock. He can make anything but Hercules work, and it ended up not working out for him in the end. I do want to say thank you very much to Jesse Blaze Snider. Congratulations on Guns and Angels, out on Kickstarter right now. And also congratulations on your Christmas music video.
Thank you, my friend. It was great hanging with you.
A couple of years ago, my friend Fatal J and I had a little friendly debate here on the channel talking about whether The Rock was the biggest movie star in the world at the time. I was Team Rock. Fatal J was Team Wrong. Definitely check this one out for some more fun. Fatal J and Wes arguing about The Rock's place in Hollywood. I think he was wrong, but definitely check this out. If you don't see the video here, there's also a link in the video description.